Hello, everybody. This is Dissonant Waves again with an episode, and the episode number is drumroll, please, while my internet loads the page where I keep this information.
I don't know if that did anything, but
Episode
might have just made a bunch of
33.
slapping.
33. A third of a way to 100.
Yeah.
This is the end of Pride Month, technically, even though it's the middle of July now. But we have celebrated it. It's going off in style with Ween, the Mollusk, Troye Sivan's Bloom, and 7 Plus Mary from Rainbow Kitten Surprise. All very, very clearly queer and LGBTQ plus celebrated albums. All three of them. No questions, please. Thank you.
Well, the Mollusk did give us SpongeBob.
And that was the
And
voice. That was the voice of Trix.
Yes. And as we know, because of a tweet that Nickelodeon did, SpongeBob is now gay.
Asexual, gay, somewhere in there, depending on who you talk to, I guess now. And then Ritallin's also here, whenever he wants to speak.
I think he kicked out for a few minutes.
Yeah, no, I literally just had people asking me, shall we leave and go get some shopping done? As we started.
Yeah, that's always how it works.
Gotcha. I did not pay attention to the chat.
Yeah, no, oh good. Here from now.
Well, perfect timing. I just introduced you, so say hello to the audience out there.
Hello. I don't want to talk. No,
Okay. Well,
I'm not pissed. I just don't want to talk.
we talked about it beforehand, so let's talk about Bloom and Troye Sivan once again.
Does that work?
No, kind
It
of.
did.
Damn it.
So
Do we have a soundboard now?
Yeah. I bought Soundpad and it's got a couple good noises. I got this.
heard that. Anything else?
I don't know how many. Did any of them go through?
I heard one of them.
I heard one, and the second one kind of did.
I don't know if that goes through or not. Play selected
a
file on
click.
microphone only. Nah, I got no idea if it's working.
Not anymore.
Damn it.
There's
Damn it, I had a scream.
I heard part of the scream.
Maybe I had to
Yeah.
be talking while it's going, so maybe if I blow into my microphone as I do this. Nah, I don't think it's gonna work. Anyway.
I don't know how it's gonna work, but it doesn't work.
Yeah,
right now.
no, I'll have to figure it out. But yeah, so spent $5 on Soundpad during the Steam sale.
Well, we will figure it out at some point, I suppose, and we'll get some soundboarding on this show, and we'll have all of our favorite clips queued up, like how I said.
Oh yeah, I
Gautier's
was
an incel.
thinking of getting the it feels a bit incelish as one of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was obviously going to be the big one.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure that we've got some other sound clips that we can make here.
Just come
yeah.
through our vast archive.
That was the
recordings.
investment I made. I support Wallpaper Engine, so I can get those anime titties on my screen.
I'm boring.
Actually,
I never
So I don't know why I haven't put it up yet, but I downloaded it on Wallpaper Engine, and this one's actually relevant to this episode. I downloaded a wallpaper for Ween's the Mollusk,
Oh
Oh.
wow.
and I put it on my screen. I showed Ash, and look, she doesn't appreciate the arts. Every time she saw that artwork, she told me to put it away instantly.
Not everyone
I'm just gonna
appreciates true art.
I'm just gonna say I'm boring with my wallpapers. I don't think I changed it off of the default Windows 10.
I also
thing.
default Windows 10, the rainbow thing. Yes.
Mine's
I'll
the blue
I'll
one.
literally show you. And this is a terrible picture because I literally just did print screen. But yeah, that's now currently what my screen looks like when I had that wallpaper on. No one can really see this that's listening, but it's really someone's done this really good it's like a very simple way of doing it. They've only made these very small animations, so like those lights kind of move a bit. It's really good definition. It's a really good wallpaper to have because it's also quite simple.
Right.
And
Yeah.
due to wallpaper engine allowing you to play volume in it, it also plays the title track if you put the volume on.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Well, how do you turn it off?
You can change the volume on wallpaper engine. It's pretty good.
Fair enough.
Anyway, we'll get more into Ween and Mollusk later. Let's go on to the weakest album this week.
Yeah. Bloom, Troye Sivan, second outing for Troye Sivan. Once again, not living up to what I'd hoped. But this was an album I kind of prepped for. I laid all the groundwork of Ali X, Lauv, Frank Ocean, a lot of different pieces that would come together to form this Voltron of artistry that never quite came to be.
And it's getting beaten by two albums that were just picked by people who decided, yeah, I'm listening to this, so I'm going to choose this.
I will say I was surprised to learn that this has like different different orders for its tracks for some reason.
It's not the only album that does that. I think one that I got quite recently was Jack Garrett's new album, and
Right.
that was released in parts. And if you go into Spotify streaming, it plays it in the order of the parts that were released. But then on the actual album track listing, completely different order. Oh man, checking there. Yeah, completely different order. And a lot of artists do that now because Car Seat Headrest did it as well this year, I believe.
Mhm.
And it's the difference, I guess, between like when they're putting their album out for streaming and they're just saying, all right, here's the collection of songs, just stream it. And then there's the actual album, which is, I guess, the proper way to listen to it. Car Seat Headrest one is just confusing because like every different way of listening to it is
Right.
like say you get the CD, the vinyl, and the streaming, they're all fucking different orders. So it's just confusing. Like, which is the fucking way to listen to the album in that case?
And this is the kind of the same thing where like the iTunes version is like the real version, but the Spotify version is different. The LP has like an extra reprise of 17, which is one of the songs. It's kind of just all over the place, and I don't really see why it needs to be that way. It's not like this album is like,
Well,
an amazing piece of art. Like, it's good. I think it's good, but it's not like, oh my god, he has so much to say.
you said earlier in the week that this album has been a bit like it needs to get its revenge because it's been a pretty bad week because of Rainbow Kitten Surprise and Ween. But I mean, yeah, those two albums are great, and those two albums could hold their own against a lot of weeks. But this album is just a random collection of pop songs. I don't really think it's gonna. One, I don't really think it matters about its album ordering, and two, I don't think it's really gonna matter which albums it's up against. There's nothing
No.
really to compare this to because there's almost everything to compare this to. It's very run of the mill. I still like that Troye Sivan does grab a couple like smaller Australian artists to help feature on his albums. Even if I'm not a fan of Gordy, I still respect putting her on this.
Mm-hmm. Even though like she really wasn't on it that much.
Yeah, I mean, a feature is a feature still, though.
Yeah, I mean her name's out there more.
Mm.
I mean, Postcard was probably one of the weaker tracks on the album, anyway.
No, I don't disagree with that. I mean, like I said, I've never really been a fan of Gordy. I don't know, she's always been quite boring to listen to, and I mean, this track didn't really change much. I mean, if I could say some praise to this, I think the first two songs of this album are really catchy and actually, whilst not being anything cutting edge.
First two
still,
songs. What do you mean by first two songs? Because they.
Yeah, on Spotify streaming. Sorry, My and Bloom.
Yes. Okay. Yes.
Oh. Wow, mine are 17 and mine.
Yeah, that's the official order.
Oh wow, YouTube Music is official.
But yes, My and Bloom are some of the best tracks on here. They're very catchy.
But like as it goes on, I mean, tracks. This again, yeah, there are features and there are people who help with this, but I mean, it is still mostly Troye Sivan. I guess that makes sense to me. This is a Troye Sivan album, but like the Ariana Grande song. I mean, again, I've never been an Ariana Grande fan. and the song didn't change that for me.
I like the mood of it a lot. I think it's better than the Lady Gaga Ariana Grande song that we did.
Yeah.
I mean, we're comparing an apple and an apple that's the exact same apple.
I feel like that's a little simplifying it, but okay. I mean, they're very different pop songs.
I mean, maybe if I go back to them, but the Ariana Grande song and the Lady Gaga one has not been one of the more memorable songs off that album.
No.
Nor was it really one of the more memorable ones off this one. I know a lot of people think Ariana Grande makes some really catchy pop tunes, and I can't really say I've listened to her enough to disagree. But every time I've tried to listen to one of her tracks, even if she's featured or anything on it, it just doesn't grab me. It just always strikes me as pretty run-of-the-mill pop.
I've only heard Ariana Grande songs through a shower, and a door. So I can't really comment on Ariana Grande's songwriting.
That's fair.
Because I have little sisters that just like to blast an hour while I'm trying to sleep.
People bring music into the shower. I don't know if I jive with that. I never quite got it myself.
I listen to like metal in the shower.
Have you ever done air guitar in the shower, Dominic?
I mean, theoretically, probably. I can't remember doing it.
Well, now do that with metal playing, and then you'll understand.
I mean, shower.
I don't even need to ask Trix. I know Trix does that.
Oh yeah, have a moist headbang.
Yep.
I mean, shower for me is like a time for introspection, so I prefer to be as quiet and like near comatose as possible as I reflect on everything in my life.
So as one of you goes on to talk more about Troye Sivan, I'm going to search up moist headbang on Urban Dictionary because I swear it's going to be a sex term.
So yeah, Troye Sivan. This is his like really kind of like gay album. Like he came out in like 2013, 2014 or whatever, and Blue Neighborhood came out around then. He's been out. He's been a very represented queer artist. But I think Bloom is kind of being touted as like his exploration into a lot of those kinds of things. And so like you have him talking about how the song Bloom is basically like an anthem for bottoms, and it's about being a bottom entirely.
Hell yeah.
So
so moist headbang is not a term yet, and one of us needs to create that.
Yeah, we can invent that. That's
yeah. Look, I think it should be the terms for giving head straight after a shower.
That's on our list to create. We got to create the Petite League Wikipedia page, and now we got to create the Urban Dictionary for moist headbang. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, other songs are self-explanatory, pretty much. Like Animal, I like Animal, but it's like, yeah, when I'm with you, I feel like an animal, baby. Quite simple and direct to the point. I mean, I think some songs like The Good Side are a little bit more, interesting, in that like. The Good Side's kind of about Troye getting his fame, and then this other guy that he liked did not get any of that, so he got the good side of life, the other guy did not, and so he's kind of like feeling bad about that, and they're still kind of friends.
That's like the most backhanded way of doing that though. Like imagine getting more famous than someone that you like, so you write a whole song about how you're more famous than that person, and just say and this. I don't know, that feels like it would be really sarcastic when you say like, "Oh, this sucks."
I mean, when you genuinely care about the person, I guess that is something you might feel guilty about. I mean, maybe the way the song is done is perhaps a little bit much, but I can understand the feeling behind it. I mean, it's better than writing a song about a guy who asked you out over text.
Oof. Cardinal Heart reference number 50. I'm pretty sure at this point we've made more references to Cardinal Heart than anyone has actually listened to their songs.
Probably. But hey, I can relate.
What a backhanded podcast we're doing. This is a podcast only created so that Dominic can just fuck off. Like, tell everybody that he's asked out to fuck off.
I mean... What else am I doing here if not that?
Yeah, fair enough.
Everyone's got a motivation,
Look, the amount of artists that once to become big have written a fuck you song is it's not as big as it should be, but it's still pretty large.
I mean, you got CeeLo Green, the king of the fuck you song.
Didn't Kate Bush write one or something?
Lily Allen had one.
That's the one I'm thinking of.
Although CeeLo Green's no longer the artist that we really like to talk about these days.
Yeah, he did something.
Let's just not. Let's just not talk about CeeLo Green's views on rape.
Oh, shit.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Ugh.
I kind of remember something about that. Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I'll look it up later.
Yeah, I'll look it up later. It's for those who don't know. I mean, if you want to still enjoy "fuck you," I wouldn't.
Just look it up later.
Yeah, it was.
We'll figure.
Yeah, it was a very dumb view.
Yeah. My
back onto Troye Sivan, because we can only talk about "fuck you" songs for so long. I mean, you've picked a lot of albums that Troye Sivan has appeared on. A lot of them I thought had been forgettable. One of them was obviously one of the fucking worst things of the year, possibly one of the worst things we've done.
Yeah.
And when you give a Troye Sivan album a listen, it reminds myself he doesn't ever do anything to make it better, nor does he make it worse, because this is an artist that I struggle to really have an opinion on. Because a lot of his songs are well produced, but they're also just very I've heard them before 1,000 times.
That's fair,
type.
I guess.
I mean, it's really interesting that that this is someone who a couple of years ago was actually on Triple J Unearthed. He was somebody who, well, I guess a couple of years ago was a bit like stretching. It was a while ago, but he was one of these kind of like up and coming pop artists and perf, and he has blown up to be, how many? What ranking is he on the Spotify listens at the moment? He's 193rd in the world.
It's pretty good.
Which is, that's one of the highest Australians at the moment.
I mean, in a larger context, I do think it's interesting from the perspective of the way we do albums and stuff, and how I've kind of weaved so much of his circle into the podcast, and how expansive that can be, and how varied and different that is. Like, he's not a Lauv, and like how Lauv just kind of touches every single thing. He's in fucking, Bollywood songs and whatnot. But like, Troye Sivan casts wide enough of a net that it's interesting to study everything that's kind of come from him, or has like been shaped around him. Even if it's not, anything that's particularly great, I do think the study of it is still fascinating.
Yeah.
I'm curious what you all think about the song 17, though.
It's been one of the least memorable songs off the album.
I got some creepy vibes, too.
I mean,
I feel like that was...
It was kind of intentional.
Even though it was from... Yeah, I know, but I still got the vibes.
I mean, for briefly, people who don't know, the song 17 is Troye kind of recounting his first hookup with a man on Grindr when he was 17. So... all that entails.
Yeah.
And
the song that actually it reminds me of the most is a song called Party Pill by Cubsport, which has a very similar vibe, which is like this whole like, young, kind of stupid and gay.
It did remind me of like his first album, Blue Neighborhood, kind of the construction of it and like the use of like a lot of children's vocals and whatnot. So in a way,
kind of disappointed you didn't do Blue Neighborhood actually, because there's a lot of features on that are at least like I have a lot to talk about myself. Like Broods is a popular New Zealand pop duo. All Day, who obviously did that stuff for Japanese Wallpaper. I think we covered that one song.
And Mallrat.
Yep, and Mallrat, and Takai Mazda, who's probably one of the most talented female rappers in Australia at the moment.
I mean, we're gonna get to Blue Neighborhood eventually. And, after this, it might not be for a while because again, I'm kind of disappointed in how Bloom eventually kind of turned out. Even though I do like it myself, it's just maybe not the best podcast album to talk about.
Yeah.
I mean, if we're gonna do Blue Neighborhood, we're gonna do the deluxe edition that has the other EP in it, kind of like the 7 plus Mary thing that's got going on.
And we could make a segue with that, but we haven't.
I mean, do you have anything else to really say?
That's how good we are. No, not really. I mean, as you said, this isn't really much worth talking about on the podcast, because what is there really even to talk about? He's young, he's gay in this. I mean, we've done that on this podcast before, so it's just nothing new at this point.
I mean, I do like that, he's able to become like this kind of pop icon, kind of based on that. That's still kind of new.
If I really got a least favorite, I don't know. I mean, I got a favorite. My favorite's My, but I haven't really got a least favorite on here because, again, it's not bad, but it is really kind of safe, and a lot of the albums just so similar, it doesn't really matter what I choose for least favorite.
Okay. Chex, you got anything?
I remember really liking the beat to Lucky Strike.
Okay.
And that's about it. About all I remember. I didn't spend as much time with this album as I did the other one.
Yeah, the other two are...
The other two are just so far ahead.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah. I do feel like if we had done this last week with Block Party and Judas Priest, Block Party still would have won, but at least I think we could have had more to talk about. Just giving it more room, maybe? I don't know. Maybe not.
You know what? I think a Nunny was more interesting than a Troye Sivan, even if Troye Sivan was probably a bit better produced.
Perhaps, yes.
I preferred a Nani.
Yeah.
I can understand that. That's fair. For me, I think My is pretty good. I like Bloom a lot. I've been listening to Bloom just kind of by itself. I also have come to really like Animal, which is kind of like the one of the closing songs you don't really think about, but then it's kind of one of those things that's just been on my mind. Like how the piano beat kind of turns into like a synthy thing at the end. I think that's really cool. I think my least favorite's probably Postcard or What a Heavenly Way to Die, because Smith's reference, very obvious. But like Postcard's just kind of very simple, like, I wrote a postcard to you, baby, but you didn't read it, and we're having troubles in our relationship, and that's symbolism, I guess.
Sorry, someone needed to cry.
We can revive the hashtag he used to promote Bloom, which was hashtag Bopspout Bottoming. So if
I don't mind that.
So if you wanna,
if you gotta go full gay, you gotta go full gay.
I'm gonna put that on the Dissonant Waves Twitter page at Dissonant Waves for those who don't know, not followed.
Now, which one are we gonna move on to next?
Well, we have the segue already set up, so let's go into the other gay album of the week.
Look, Ween's had some gay songs, but yeah, we'll go into Rainbow Kitten Surprise.
That is 7 Plus Mary, their first EP and their first album kind of stuck together now.
Yeah.
Kind of like Peanut Butter and Jelly.
As I was saying throughout the week, the way that like we're comparing Ween and Seven and Mary, and it's kind of the reason I'm not sure if I'm gonna rank them. I probably will, but like it's gonna be a hard ranking. It's because what one album has flaws on, the other album like does well, like fixes that. So it's all of the problems that you have on one album aren't really prevalent on the other. And like I was saying, the consistency of Rainbow Kitten Surprise doesn't appear on the Ween album.
Right.
Whilst this whole kind of like variety of sounds that Ween does doesn't really appear here. Like Rainbow Kitten Surprise one can get a bit samey at times.
Yeah.
It's really like two polar opposites.
Yeah.
When it comes to those little aspects. And instead of now kind of talking about those issues, I want to talk about the massive positives that Rainbow Kitten Surprise has.
I do want to say that, real quick, that I agree with
yep.
that. And I was going to say, for that topic, like, I think the Mollusk is the better made album in that it has that wider landscape of sound and that interest. But if I was going to listen to one again, it's probably going to be 7 Plus Mary.
As I was going to say now, The main positives are having this. One, holy fuck, their vocal harmonies are so good.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Same with their vocal flows. The way that they have this somewhat unique way. Even if it's not the most unique, you can kind of still distinctly tell it's them. way of just singing all their songs. They all kind of flow. They can put so much emotion into their voices alone. It's beautiful.
Yes.
Yeah.
Two, they make some really catchy songs as well. Stuff like Mr. Redundant was really. I know it's kind of a cheat because a lot of the words that they're singing there aren't actually words, but it's still catchy. I liked songs like Fail, 7654321. That's my shit. They were all really catchy.
I even like Devil Like Me, though I know you two didn't like that as much.
No, I like the song, but I don't
yeah.
think it's I don't think it's the highlight out of everything on here.
No.
Yeah, I don't think it's a highlight, but it's a great song.
It's a highlight, but it's not the highlight.
I do think this is an album I have to kind of sit with and learn all the different songs a bit more closely, because like I remember moments from a lot of them, but I don't have them as separated as I do like the Ween stuff, because Ween is so varied. I can kind of remember all the songs very differently.
Well, a big difference that we can also do about this album compared to the Ween is that we actually have another Rainbow Kitten Surprise album to compare this to, because we covered one before. We covered their first actual proper label one or something like that, or one on their new label. I can't really remember.
How to Friend Love Freefall.
Yeah, how. Which that was one where I thought the consistency of the album really varied in its quality, and there were some songs that I really thought stood out, but then a lot of songs are just like really forgettable and stuff like that. But the songs on there that stood out really stood out. Like, I still have Matchbox on quite a heavy rotation. I just absolutely adore that song, and I think if there's any song that I go back to in all of Rainbow Kitten Surprise discography, it's gonna be Matchbox.
I feel the same way about Mission to Mars.
And I don't think any song off this album beats that. Like, there isn't a single song that I'd say that's the exact song that I'll go back to. I might go back to a couple and listen on occasion, but like I wouldn't just put one random into a playlist just out of nowhere.
I might with more time. I think I might. I think I might put 7 with one more time and listening to it.
Yeah.
But unlike How to Love Friend Freefall, where I really only go back to that one song, if I decide to go back to this album, I would give a lot more songs a listen, because they're a lot more consistent.
Yeah. Which is amazing considering it's their first, like, the first EP plus their first album.
Yeah, it's not even really an album.
Right.
It's more like a compilation, but it flows pretty well.
Yeah.
Surprisingly. Maybe that's just because their sound was very similar. Like, in between those two EPs or whatever it is, but still, this was miles ahead of Troye Sivan, and there would be a lot of albums that I'd consider this to be miles ahead of, because this is fun. This is like it. You listen to it and you just have a lot of fun listening to it. It's not for something that has a lot of emotion into the vocals. This isn't like, oh, this is a hard listen because it's sad. There's probably a lot of sad lyrics in here, but it doesn't really matter. A lot of the instrumentation, songs like Fail, I'm sure it's probably sad, but the instrumentation is so kind of happy and boppy. It's really fun to listen to.
Mm-hmm. You gonna say, Trix?
That bloopy bass line.
But
no one's talking.
I think this is the album that maybe, like, I liked Rainbow Kitten Surprise with How To, but I think this is the album that really solidified my appreciation for them, kind of like in like a Petite League kind of way, where now that we listen to Rips One Into the Night, I really like Petite League. Now that we listen to 7 Plus Mary, I really like Rainbow Kitten Surprise. You know, they're one of my like my favorite finds from this podcast.
I think Rainbow Kitten Surprise I've enjoyed a lot more than Petite League.
Wow.
Like, Petite League, I'm still not that big on. Like, I liked a couple songs, but Rips One Into the Night did not grab me, and still hasn't, whilst Rattler grew on me a lot.
Fair enough.
Whilst with Rainbow Kitten Surprise, it didn't really need to grow on me. I've kind of appreciated it from the start.
You were there right away, like before this podcast?
I'd listened to a couple Rainbow Kitten Surprise songs before the podcast, but what I meant is like on the first listens.
Fair enough.
To these albums at full.
Yeah.
I know, Trix, you pick some really good stuff sometimes, and I really appreciate that. I think I'm kind of the one who has like the oddball choices, but you have really solid stuff.
Yeah, thanks.
Is there
Trying to
much?
think of a good kind of song to really get into on this song onto this album. Sorry, I'm not really thinking too straight here.
Like I was saying
Well,
before,
let's talk about Seven because you seem to enjoy that song
yeah, I mean like
as well, Dominic.
the way they have the actual 7 countdown integrated to the lyrics is one of my favorite things on the album.
Yeah.
Like the way it flows, the way they have all the numbers into the sentence and all the lyrics is just so fun and catchy. Like it's you know, like their lyrics, they pay attention to them, they write them really well from the stuff you can pick up. So it just really shows in songs like that. And I was saying before too, and during the week that like overall these 2 albums that we listened to have some of my favorite fucks in all of music.
Ooh,
Yeah.
kinky. So I'm actually looking into the lyrics at the moment, and apparently, what it's a reference to, and I guess it's not too much of a surprise if it's called Seven and Mary, but Seven is actually referring to the 7 deadly sins.
Of course.
Oh yeah, fine.
And Mary was the prostitute, wasn't she?
Sure.
Mary
Trying
Magdalene.
to think of my Christian theology here. I think it's like
Mary
Mary Magdalene was the prostitute. Give me 5 seconds to search that up.
Yeah.
We all know that Jesus was parking on the reg.
Yeah, 7 sins, 6 frames, 5 for the 2 of us. 3 is too much when there's only one love. And here he come, let him know, leave him hung, let him go. Up to dry, you're up to dry. Light it up, let it glow, let it pull, let it blow. Up to dry, you're up to dry.
Beautiful.
No, it's not, but thank you. That's more Sam Mello's shtick there. But it flows really well for even someone who can't really sing. So
I'm also looking at what the most popular songs off this album are. Just on Spotify, like what's being listened to it most at the moment, and obviously "Devil Like Me" is the biggest song off here. But then actually next after that is "First Class," which I kind of agree with. I think "First Class"
First
is
Class
definitely a big highlight of this.
yeah.
Like that's one of the ones, where a lot of the emotion comes in just for the voice.
Like that opening is so good. Like that opening is just perfect with the vocals.
I need to get water, so Trix, you're the one who chose this. Please speak.
All right, yeah. I forget how I kind of discovered Rainbow Kitten Surprise. I think it was just a case of like downloading albums on Spotify and just because that's how I discovered like a lot of my music tastes, just downloading music and listening to it. And as novel as idea as that is, and I just first time listening to them, I just got really enamored with the album. It's like the vocal harmony, various switching of genres, and having it all work so well. And obviously, like the songwriting and all that stuff, it's just a great. They're great albums, and it's impressive that even when they go this far back into their discography, that they're still that solid.
Yeah,
And,
like you can hear the roots of their later stuff quite clearly. Like there's like a rap and that's my shit basically.
Yeah.
And like that's like kind of integrating hip hop into like kind of a more folksy setting is something they've done consistently.
Yeah.
Which you don't think it was gonna work, but it does somehow.
Definitely. And the bass player is always is killing it with his bass line.
Mm-hmm.
One thing that they consistently have is great bass line.
Mm-hmm. You all right there, Callum?
Yeah, I know. Just I needed some water. I had a bit of a coughing fit, and I don't have corona. Just before anyone makes that joke.
Yeah, everyone's always so paranoid now when anyone coughs. It's like, yeah.
Yeah, I have allergies the worst right now.
Yeah, I have
I
allergies
know
too.
people were getting so paranoid. Like I was on the bus and I vomited on a guy, and it was just like, why did you think it was fine to come in on a bus? I'm like, right, I don't have corona.
I mean, what do you expect going on a public bus? You're gonna get vomited on.
That happens to everybody, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I got vomited on like
Well,
2 weeks ago.
you catch the bus if you want to get vomited on. You catch the train or the subway if you want to get peed on.
Yeah, if you want to sit in a seat of pee, that's where you go. You get on the train. Did you know that that is like I've seen on Twitter that's like a subsection of videos is like people finding those seats and whatnot and like
Were you on
filming them.
Twitter or Pornhub?
Twitter.
Huh. Then again, I'm pretty sure Twitter has a lot of porn on it, so.
Oh god, so much porn. I'm just trying to browse Twitter on my fucking break. I don't need these gigantic anime titties in my face.
There's a lot of shit on Twitter.
Yes, but do you want them?
Not really.
Oh, okay. Then you won't like Wallpaper Engine.
As I said, I'm boring with my wallpapers anyway.
I stopped doing wallpapers in like middle school, so I'm also boring with them.
I have a wallpaper on my phone, but it's literally been the same for going on 4 years now.
Yeah, I have my
I'm gonna search up. Is there a Rainbow Kitten Surprise wallpaper?
probably it's probably 7+ Mary's art, which is
Nope,
amazingly. What was that?
There isn't one on Wallpaper Engine, unfortunately.
Like 7+ Mary, the artwork for it is so simple. It's like Super Mario 64 meets like someone just
Yes.
having a fun time writing the word 7. Like, how do we make this 7 word look all cool and shit? We'll make it all curvy and extend the letters to unbelievable lengths, and it'll just work.
And make it look like a 7.
That too, yes. So I mean,
And then there's the Rainbow Kitten.
oh, that's what that is. Okay,
Yeah.
Surprise!
that is very surprising. It's a Super Mario 64 plus 7 with a cat, and then Mary is there as well.
It basically sums up everything about the late '80s culture.
Yeah, maybe the early 10s as well. That's kind
So
of
if
the
it
same
makes
era.
you feel better, Dominic, you can get a lot of Troye Sivan wallpapers on Wallpaper Engine, and yes, there are the gay moments of Troye Sivan, so you can get him kissing somebody as your wallpaper.
That's just looking and wishing at that point.
I just imagine Dominic just like stroking his monitor, just one day, one day.
He is a very cute man.
Let me hide my Jeff Mangum wallpaper now.
For what it's worth, my parents always tell me about how I had wallpaper for the show MASH, and they always bring it up. Like, remember when you had that wallpaper of the helicopters? Wasn't that fun? It's like, yes.
Wasn't that fun?
I was-
I think they might just be saying that because maybe your wallpaper is just a bit too risque at the moment, Dominic.
They don't know what my wallpaper is. It's literally just the Windows 10 default. They've never seen my laptop.
Maybe it's a wallpaper engine that's an X-ray and it looks like the Windows 10, but when you hover on it, you actually just get a penis.
So that would be fun. Surprise penis.
Yeah.
That's a good Rainbow Kitten
Fuck.
surprise.
You know what? I'm not gonna search that up on Wallpaper Engine. Surprise penis. No,
So yeah,
it'll be anime titties, but there won't be a surprise penis.
So we still got more Rainbow Kitten Surprise to cover. I am very much looking forward to it. Doing RKS and then the B-sides to Mary, which will probably marry with another.
That came
EP.
out in 2019.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
just,
well, the B-sides are literally 2 songs.
we'll still find a way to marry it to something else, just because I want to have that. I want to ever listen to more Rainbow
Yeah.
Kitten Surprise for the podcast, basically. So if we can figure a way to get that in
We'll cover
here.
their new album if they come out with one.
Troye Sivan's has a new album coming out. Apparently, we might get to that eventually. Who knows? I say hopefully. We'll see. Yeah.
I'm trying to think of my favorites and least favorites off here, because I mean, this one's different to the choice of one when I say I don't really have a least favorites, because there's just a lot of good stuff on here. I guess
Yes.
one of my least favorites might be like something like a Black and White or something like that, which isn't so memorable, but it's not like I don't like the songs either.
Right.
I think my favorite is probably First Class, to be honest. I think that one's I think the one I'm probably gonna go back to a lot to listen to will probably be like a Fail or Mr. Redundant, but I think First Class is probably the best song off here.
I would agree. Black and White, it's the
Yeah.
least favorite. It's the least memorable. First Class, Fail, Mr. Redundant, and 7. Devil Like Me, I'm going to come back to all of them. Probably First Class is the best one, though.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
Trix. Now you said this was going to be a surprise. What you chose is your favorites and least favorite.
well, I meant for just like the overall rank.
Ah, okay.
Okay, interesting.
I misread that then.
I also
Sorry,
misread that.
everybody who was excited. But still, what's your favorite and least favorites for this album?
Favorites. I really like Fail. I actually taught myself the bass line to that. There's just a lot of good on this album. It's harder to pick a least favorite for this. Again, I'll probably go Black and White. I remember the least of it, and I've listened to this album a whole bunch more than
Yeah.
you guys have, and I'm still kind of like, well, what was that song about? But yeah.
They came out of the gate with good
Dominic,
shit.
you want to play this as the intro to the next album?
Sure. Here we go. That just played, so whatever.
Yeah.
If you don't know what that is, that was
Let's go to loop de loop.
we do the loop de loop and pull, and your shoes are looking cool. That's the collaboration between SpongeBob and Ween before Ocean Man
I'm
got famous.
gonna be honest, never actually had a time.
You never learned how to tie your shoes. You're wearing fucking flip flops right now.
I'm barefoot.
I learned how to tie my shoes and ride a bike the same summer before 7th grade.
Look, I learned how to tie my shoes. Fuck the bike though.
I had to ride a bike to
I
school
broke my
that year,
teeth riding.
so
Well, for those who don't know, SpongeBob was kind of inspired by Ween's The Mollusk. There's a whole post that Ween put out on their Facebook after Steven Hillenburg died, talking about the creation of Loop De Loop, and like Hillenburg's kind of inspiration gone from the Mollusk, which I like to say means that waving my dick in the wind inspired SpongeBob.
I mean, probably. I mean,
Probably.
I mean, like, in all honesty, I'm dancing in the show tonight. Like, if you told me that was a SpongeBob song, I would believe you.
Yeah.
Like, it has
There was
the
another
voices.
one which I thought was very very close to it as well. Trying to remember if was it the Golden Eel or was it Pink Eye?
It was probably Golden Eel because Pink Eye is instrumental.
No, it's Pink Eye on My Leg.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah, because it was the instrumentation of that actually really reminded me of the kind of background instrumentation that would happen in some SpongeBob video games or
Okay.
actual SpongeBob episodes.
But
I mean, as we all have been playing a Battle for God with.
2 of the 3 of us have. I
Dominic,
I
you
played-
disappointed us.
I played different SpongeBob games, and those didn't get remastered, so...
Well, Battle for Bikini Bottom is the best SpongeBob game.
It is.
Yeah.
You're all a little younger than me, so you had that one. I had Revenge of the Flying Dutchman.
Okay. there's a
Revenge of the
okay,
Flying Dutchman shit.
While we're on this tangent, there's a SpongeBob point and click game called Employee of the that I really.
Yep.
I also had the Game Boy Color spatula game. I don't remember what it was called. It was a bad side scroller.
Yep, I know exactly what you're on about. That's the one where you got Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy that you keep talking to.
Yeah, I remember.
Sport 9.
I remember that was a game I brought to like a TGI Fridays with my parents, and I played it throughout dinner. I think it was it was either a TGI Fridays or something even more fancy.
Like a Chili's.
No, I'm like a legit restaurant. In my mind, that was TGI Fridays, probably to save embarrassment.
But I mean, there are definitely a lot of songs of this album in which, if you played while watching a SpongeBob episode or just have some SpongeBob imagery in your head, you would just connect the dots instantly.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, I listened to this album while playing Battle for Bikini Bottom.
Yeah. Like songs like the Mollusk, I would say absolutely. Pink Eye, I think is definitely like that was the one I was on about there. And like I say, if you actually listen to Ocean Man and then just watch like snippets of the SpongeBob intro, it's not like it syncs up, but like you kind of start to think, oh yeah, I can absolutely see the influence, and that was the reason why why Ocean Man's used at the end of the SpongeBob movie, because
Right.
that's where Steven Hillenburg left. That's where he said, all right, that's where the show ends. I don't want it to continue anymore, and
Yeah.
he wanted to end it with what started it, which I think is quite a meaningful thing to do there.
Oh yeah, it's a great idea. Too bad I didn't catch on.
SpongeBob.
Well,
Prince Mark.
Nickelodeon didn't want SpongeBob to go. Full stop. And that's why, that's why seasons 1 to 3 and the movie are considered the whole peak of SpongeBob.
Yeah.
And then Hillenburg left, and Nickelodeon said, "Well, fuck you, SpongeBob's still got to be a thing."
And
And that's why we have Camp Corral.
I do think that Tom Kenny and the guy who voiced Patrick listened to him dancing in the show tonight and just based their voices off of those voices. Like that just seems clear to me.
Tom Kenny is such a fucking good actor, voice actor. Like the amount of you'll notice if you pay attention, you can notice it's distinctly Tom Kenny, but he can do such a wide range.
Oh yeah.
With what he does,
Yeah.
it's incredible.
I've been in several jobs now where coworkers and I have just quoted different SpongeBob moments as just a way to have conversation.
Oh yeah.
They're all just so memorable. Or like, you remember the episode
all
when they did
all
this?
the memes that SpongeBob's created. All of the memes.
Like the
Plus,
episode.
whilst this saying just for this album, whilst it's not all based on that sound, this album does definitely have the concept based on the whole kind of sea shanty type songs, like I'm Dancing in the Show Tonight, Polka Dot Tail,
The Blarney Stone.
yeah, Blarney Stone.
You ever seen a whale
No.
with a polka dot tail?
Definitely have a strong one. Whilst other songs actually have a pretty close tie to that concept as well. Like Mutilated Lips, when you notice carefully, whilst it's mostly psychedelic, definitely takes a lot of influence from that sound that they were going with.
Yeah.
I'd say one of the ones that's kind of there, but it's just very far away, is Waving My Dick in the Wind, which is actually quite like a trucker song, and that's the whole point of it. I think the whole point of that song is literally it's about a man who's like literally he's been in long distance for maybe like trucking or something like that. I think it's supposed to be like, yeah, he's done a long trip and he's finally coming back, so this is the last masturbating he's doing. Which is the type of humor that Ween loves to throw into their songs. They're either really just like humorous out of nowhere, somewhat serious, or just odd. I mean, Buckingham Green, what the fuck is that about?
I did my research, and Gene Ween and Dean Ween met in middle school, and they formed Ween in middle school. So, it makes sense.
Oh, yeah.
Makes sense.
You haven't even done all the full research onto Ween until you know about all the terminology you need to use with Ween songs. Like, there's the Boognish, which is their logo, which came to them on a piece of paper, and it's their god. And one of the most important terms when it comes to talking about Ween is the term brown, which is the way that they describe their music, which is...
The Brown Album, yes.
Well, it's shit, but it's made with love, so it's good.
Painting the Town Brown.
And they use the term brown quite a lot in their songs. Mutilated Lips use it with the song in the lyric, Everything is Turning Brown. And Mutilated Lips is obviously the song that it's just about LSD. 100%. It's supposed to be an acid trip, and what I like about it, and someone mentions it on a YouTube comment, which I think is this cool idea, is that all the different voices in that song, you can easily just imagine as that mollusk creature on the album are actually all the different mouths singing different parts.
Sure.
Yeah.
Which I think is a cool imagery to kind of have. And the whole idea of everything turning brown is like, yeah, everything's going fucking weird and shit, but I love it. In kind of way. which I think brings an important context to that part. I don't know. I mean, I absolutely adore that song. I think it's Ween's best song.
It's a very good song.
It is a good song.
Not everyone think it's their best song, but I mean, most people still love it.
I was very surprised to find out how much Ween has kind of been absorbed into the wider music industry doing my research about how, like, I don't know how to pronounce his name, Mickey Melchiondo. He was he worked with Queens of the Stone Age, and when they did songs for songs for the deaf, he played like guitar in some of those songs. And Dave Drywitz played in Crescent Moon, which is like he plays bass and there's like rotating drummers. And Eric Slick of Dr. Dog was one of the drummers. So there's like a lot of different connections that are going on there.
I mean, they're such a weird band, but they've been around for a long time. They've been quite prolific in it, and they made some of the most. I mean, this is a really fucking unique album.
Oh yeah, like in the early days,
I struggle to think of something to actually compare this to.
I mean, there's a reason in the early days Henry Rollins was personally championing Ween. You were gonna say, Trix?
I had nothing to say. But yeah, it's a weird album. Does not hold itself down to one genre.
Which is to its benefit and probably to its a little bit demise. I don't know what the word is.
I mean, Ween, full stop, just never kept themselves down to one genre as well. I mean, you go back to Chocolate and Cheese days, where it seems to be some of it's a bit of a country shit take, and some of it's psychedelic, some of it's kind of dancey. And then there's the HIV song, which just seems to be a shit take of music, full stop.
Yeah.
I mean,
I do like their genuine.
Here's the acts I can start to compare it to, and you know the genre of PC music, or like artists like the 100 Gex stuff that have come out, which obviously for those who have heard them, what's made them so popular is that they've constructed what a lot of people like. By all means, they should be the parts of music that everybody hates, but the way that they're so constructed makes them so unique and so enjoyable, and that's stuff that Ween did.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this isn't bad music made by people who can't make. This is music that is what should be bad, but because it's made by people who actually have an understanding of how genres work and how music works, can do it in such a way that makes the music good.
Like one of my favorite tracks is "Pink Eye on My Leg" because it's such a 90s PC song. Like we have like Vaporwave that wants to like evoke the 90s and like that era of like sound, but I think Pink Eye on My Leg kind of just does that in a different way that people who never grew up with like 90s PCs and early internet, even when they were like little children, don't really understand.
Yeah.
Like the sound clips they have, like that dog barking and like the burps or whatever it was, like that stuff just sounded like it came from like right out of like a Windows 95 computer.
And I also love the way this album kind of opens up. Like, yeah, I'm Dancing in the Show Tonight probably goes on for a bit longer than it needs to, but it's very good opener in the context of this, because it's just like, it's like the whole idea. Like, imagine a Boardwalk theater production, and it has like this kind of opening song to start it all over. That's
Right.
the kind of song that I'm Dancing in the Show Tonight is. And then it comes into this really expansive, the Mollusk, which has all these sounds kind of thrown around in it, but still very, like, it doesn't get confusing. Mollusk is very, despite not really having a chorus, still kind of catchy. I mean, it does have a chorus, I believe, but it's like not really much of one.
A couple of these songs are interestingly like they are kind of just like kind of covers of other songs, or just kind of like alternate takes in other songs. Like I'm Dancing in the Show Tonight is like a version of Are My Ears On Straight, which was like kind of a novelty song from the 50s sung by like a 10-year-old whose name, if I wrote it down right, was Gayla Peavy. So when they have that mocking voice, I think they're kind of just literally just kind of mocking how she sang the song, like 10-year-old girl, and so here's like this deep voiced man doing it now.
It wouldn't be against Ween to make fun out of kids. Their song Spinal Meningitis, which is very, very uncomfortable for a lot of people to listen to. The whole whole lyrics of that song is of a kid who has spinal meningitis, who's scared because they have spinal meningitis.
Oh.
And then the chorus is just this very like harmonizing spinal meningitis, and it's uncomfortable, but that's what makes it so fun.
And then Cold Blows the Wind is a version of an old English folk song named The Unquiet Grave, but I believe they gender swapped it, so like they sing about a woman instead of a man. You know how that goes. So I think overall, since this was like one of the first albums where they were like really going into a studio, because I understand a lot of their older stuff was kind of just a lot of DAT tapes, and they were just kind of playing their shit and had the DAT tapes in the background.
I think one of the only songs on here which is apparently like not really created from the context of the album was actually Buckingham Green, which apparently they had held on. Like there are many different versions of Buckingham Green out there and like demos and stuff, but the only official released version is on the Mollusk.
Interesting.
So there's an actual version of this, which Trix might be interested in, because I think Trix really likes Buckingham Green.
It's a good song.
I like it.
There's a 5-minute version of it, which is apparently even more pro-y.
But I think,
and obviously the biggest song to talk about on this album is Ocean Man. I mean,
what I was gonna say before we get into that is that I think like this is the era where they kind of moved into the studio and really started producing like studio quality stuff, and I think like kind of covering these songs and like going with all these different sounds kind of shows that work a bit. Like it's no longer just like, you know, DIY early 90s. Like this is like a real thing. Like not that it wasn't a real thing before, but like this is like the next level, and I think they really kind of blew it out of the water, so to speak, by like taking it to that next level and like succeeding there. But go on.
Plus, I mean, some of these songs as well, when we're talking about they covering old kind of songs and putting their own spins on them, I couldn't even imagine covering a lot of these songs myself, because I feel like they can only work in the way that they've been done.
I think Ocean Man is probably one you could take and do your own stuff with.
Ocean Man's like the only one that I could really think. Like Buckingham Green, any cover of that would probably sound the same. Same with Mutilated Lips on the Mollusk, or I'll Be Johnny on the Spot, which I haven't really mentioned much, which is another one of my highlights on here.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, talking about the big track of this album, though, Ocean Man, which again obviously got big because of its appearance in the SpongeBob movie. I mean, there's a lot of times where we go albums and we'll say, oh yeah, this is the biggest track, but like that doesn't mean it's the best track. In fact, it's one of the weaker tracks or anything. Blah blah blah. But that's not the case here. Even though it is one of the biggest tracks and it's not the best track in my opinion, it's still fucking fantastic.
Yeah. Oh, it's always kind of a surprise in a way. It kind of pops in at the end there. It's one of the shorter songs.
Yeah.
And after kind of like the psychedelic stuff of like, you know, Buckingham Green and Mutilated Lips, you kind of don't expect this almost like, I don't even know what you would call it. Like, is it like a jammy, surfy kind of thing?
Not really surfy, but
like I get like a tropical kind of feeling.
Don't know really how to explain it myself, but then again, I don't really know how to explain this album.
Yeah, it's a lot going on.
It's odd, and yeah, I agree. It doesn't always work. I mean, I think we all kind of have different opinions on what songs we don't like. I mean, I don't really like Polka Dot Tail. I think that's probably my least favorite of this album, to be honest. Maybe the Golden Eel. Not the Golden Eel. So yeah, Golden Eel. Sorry, probably.
didn't really.
Yeah, I don't know. Probably Polka Dot Tail.
I kind of went on.
I mean, Trix, I don't know what your least favorite is at the moment. We'll get to it later, but I'm sure it's not Polka Dot Tail because that's your favorite from what I hear.
Yeah, I really dig.
And Dominic's probably got a completely different least favorite as well.
I don't know,
but
probably. Probably.
But that's the beauty of it because it's so varied.
Yes.
We can all kind of have different opinions, but yet, despite us all having different opinions, we all have so much that we respect about this album. And I mean, we should. They do so many things in this in such a short period of time. This is only a 40 or so minute album. This isn't like an hour epic.
It feels like it is though. That is the thing. It feels longer.
But like,
It's not.
I feel it feels longer, but it doesn't feel longer in a bad way. I mean, there's a couple songs that probably drag on a bit more than they should be, but like, it's not like they drag on 2 minutes longer than they should be. It's like only like 30 seconds longer than they should be.
Right. Whereas Ocean Man, I
And
think
it
could be
feels
extended.
longer. Yeah, it feels longer because there's a lot being done.
Right.
No, it feels longer because things overstayed their welcome.
Yeah.
Plus, again, I mean, the way that, like, as we talk about the vocals for Rainbow Kitten Surprise, the vocals from Ween are so just odd. This isn't like, oh my god, they're so beautiful and they're so emotional. They're just odd. They're odd in such a good way.
I had to find a very specific note I wrote down. Keep talking.
Talk.
The,
Yeah.
Waving
Barney
my
Stone
dick in the
kinda
wind
just
is
comes
fun.
out of nowhere.
Yes.
Mm.
Here's my note. When I got to Polka Dot Tail, this is how I figured. This is what this album is to me. This is Jelly of the Month meets Neutral Milk Hotel.
I wonder if that's an insult to Ween or an insult to Neutral Milk Hotel.
It's not an insult.
I know, it's not really. I mean,
It's like the playful kind of kiddishness of Jelly of the Month, and like in their ability to kind of go to those places.
it
But
mixes
Ween-
with the explicitness of Neutral Milk Hotel.
and like kind of the weird like sounds that they had. Like there's like a very specific like a whine I recognized in here, like a digital whining sound that was used in I think Aeroplane or on Avery Island.
But like, I can't explain why I agree or disagree.
And I think that's what I mean. I appreciate like it's so inventive and it has
Well,
so
not
much going on. Like it's a Gen X thing for sure, but like it's got that complexity to it, even though it doesn't really maybe show it as much. But
I mean, I think one of the weirdest things, so it's like the stretch of Waving My Dick in the Wind to Ocean Man, is that all three of those songs are fucking great, but Buckingham Green is so different in its sound that it's kind of a little jarring that it changes like that. And that's like the flaw that this album has, is that because it's so varied, it doesn't always flow so well.
I suppose I don't know. I think at that point you're kind of just expecting like whatever they got, we're just gonna take
Yeah.
it. Like I'm not
Pretty
gonna
much.
like it's so non-flowy that it has its own flow. Like it's just kind of like a roller coaster of different sounds.
Yeah.
Anyway, I mean, I don't know if I got much more to say about this album. I think it's fantastic. I think both this and Rainbow Kitten Surprise were absolutely fantastic albums, and
Yeah.
I had a lot of fun actually covering them this week. Obviously, I was listening to Ween kind of a bit more constantly before this episode, so that's why I kind of chose this one in here. Yeah, I mean, for those who haven't ever listened to this album, you just kind of have to listen to it. There's only so much that we can explain, but it's odd.
Yeah.
Some of the songs might not grab you on first listen, but if you actually go ahead and give them some proper listens and find all the stuff that you absolutely enjoy about them,
I mean, they
you'll
don't
damn enjoy it.
make that much sense. Like the Mollusk starts out with a boy who has cancer, and then it just starts talking about the Mollusk affair. So like, you just gotta go with it. Just let it
Yeah.
be. It's like it is the album I don't know if I go back to as often, but I really appreciate it. I really appreciate how expansive it is and how just there's so much going on.
Plus, I like the closer She Wanted to Leave. It's very, like, it's probably the most accessible track, to be honest, including Ocean Man on there. I'd say She Wanted to Leave is like one of the only ones where I think there's nothing really odd about the track.
Mhm.
Which is such the out of all these really odd songs that lead up to it,
The honest
I
thing
guess the
about
only
it,
way to close this is to have a very simple kind of folky track.
and then followed by a secret song.
Yeah.
That's how you make it weird. You have the secret song in there. Yeah. Favorites, least favorites? I know I'll go first, I guess. Favorite for me, oh man. Favorite for me is probably going to be... I mean, I gotta give it up for Mutilated Lips. I gotta give it up for Pink Eye on My Leg. I think Pink Eye on My Leg. It's a weird instrumental shit take of a song. I love what it's doing. Like, the dog barking is so random. I just really love its style. And Buckingham Green is really good, and Ocean Man is really good. Least favorite, though. Least favorite is probably going to be Waving My Dick in the Wind.
I am upset by that.
And then probably either the Blarney Stone or Johnny on the Spot is also there.
What I don't like about Waving My Dick in the Wind.
It's just...
I just want to know what you didn't like about it. Like, it's fair to not like it. It's just I wanted to know what specifically you didn't like about it.
It's like, before I went into this album, that is the humor I expected for the whole album. And I didn't necessarily want to listen to Ween because I figured it was just all dick weed humor. And that's just not really my bag.
I mean, yeah, it's if it doesn't grab you, it doesn't grab you. I mean, I'll still enjoy it just because even without like the humor of the song, I think instrumentally it's quite fun. But yeah,
yeah. I mean, I'm not saying any of these songs are bad. Like, it's I'm trying.
I'm saying, yeah, no, that's fair. Tricks, your favorite, least favorite?
Favorites, Polka Dot Tail, I'll Be Your Johnny on the Spot, stuff like that, and Waving My Dick in the... mostly just for like the guitar riff.
Yeah, I know the guitars and like I'll Be Your Johnny on the Spot, because I'll Be Your Johnny on the Spot and Waving My Dick in the Wind are probably the most like similar songs of this album to each other.
Yeah.
I'll Be Your Johnny on the Spot is very South Parky. I'll say that.
And it reminds me a lot of the way of like, because he speaks and like he has like, you have to like, this is gonna sound real weird, but my drummer has like his own language you have to like slowly understand. Like, he calls things like bad Jennies all the time. Just a weird individual.
Yeah.
And your least favorite?
Got that. Either like the Blarney Stone or the Golden. Blarney Stone just came out of like nowhere. Doesn't jive with other part of the album. Golden.
Yeah, so I mean my favorites, Buckingham Green, Ocean Man, Waving My Dick in the Wind, The Mollusk, I'll Be Your Johnny on the Spot, It's Gonna Be Alright, She Wanted to Leave, I think are all fantastic, but none of them beats Mutilated Lips.
Yeah.
And I think I'll piss off Tricks. I think it's just my least favorite. It's probably Polka Dot Tail.
No one picked them dancing in the show tonight, which is interesting.
Because of the context, if I'm Dancing in the Show Tonight was anything but the intro, it would be the least favorite.
Fair enough. So that brings us to our rankings.
Yeah, I'll rank them, but I'm not going to be happy.
I mean, you don't have to. You know, like, I am almost convinced that Mollusk and 7 Plus Mary are equals. Like, they'll probably be on my list side by side. But in my heart of hearts, even though it's not the album I would go back to as often, for the sheer magnitude of stuff going on and everything, I have to put the Mollusk first. And then 7 Plus Mary, and then Bloom.
Yeah, I'm going to have to agree with you.
Order.
Yeah, we're all in agreement. Alright,
Yeah.
court adjourned.
I'm gonna go back to 7 Plus Mary a lot more, but the Mollusk just has to be first.
That is the fastest ranking we have ever done. I think that's one of the few times that we've all been in exact agreement.
Yeah.
Like I tried.
I reckon if
we
next time we all do full rankings and stuff like that, yeah, these albums are going to be very close to each other.
Yeah.
And then Troye Sivan's just got to be somewhere further away from it,
Yeah.
like it belongs.
I tried very hard to convince myself to do Rainbow Kitten Surprise first. I tried very hard because it was the one I liked listening to more, but I just could not do it.
No.
I mean, I think when it comes back to listening to them as albums, you might go back to the Rainbow Kitten Surprise more, just because it's more accessible.
It's
But I
my
reckon
shit.
if you go back, yeah. But if you go back and just listen to songs, and then start listening to the Mollusk as well as just songs, it starts to become even more accessible for you, and that's like because I've done it that way as well.
Right. So is Mutilated
So-
Lips the song we would recommend if you had to listen to one song from these?
Yeah, 100%. It's
Yeah.
fantastic. It's
I mean,
it's
also
the best song from all these albums by far.
it's I don't know if it's my favorite. It's really up there. I still think about that, but it's definitely one of the best.
Yeah.
Okay, so that that was real quick. So now it's time to go into our next episode, which is our first all-star episode, which was my idea. I kind of chose everything for everybody, so I'll just go first. I decided to do this because we have very specific bands that we like, and I thought, why not get some more of their stuff out of the way so we can talk about them more because we enjoy
In
them.
which I should say that rankings for next week should be banned as well because there's just too much bias.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll rank them on my own, so yeah,
Yeah, we'll rank them all later, but just like for the week.
sure. And mine's gonna be harder to rank. I'm doing Neutral Milk Hotel, of course. Yeah, my favorite band that I chose. We're gonna do their first EP, Everything Is. Their last EP, Ferris Wheel on Fire, which was a vinyl only for a very long time, and now is like you can buy it on Jeff Mangum's website. I think it's called like walkingwallofwords.com. And then we're also gonna throw in Little Birds, the single that he wrote, which is supposedly like the last song that he wrote before they broke up after Aeroplane. And that has like 3 tracks on the single, which is like the studio song, the live version, and then like a cut up version of the live version. I don't know why, but I'm throwing it in there because it's the beginning, it's the end. That's pretty much it for Neutral Milk Hotel.
Tricks?
I'm choosing a Petite League's no-hitter. And I'm also going to tack on the single Raspberry Vines because it's a remix and just all-around better song than Raspberry Seed.
Fair enough.
And now, for me, what is my favorite artist or
Keep in mind, I requested
More-
this. I requested this.
Yeah. more so, what's the one artist I have left that I've covered a lot, in which I literally only have a small part of their discography left? And
It's Last
Look-
Dinosaurs.
yeah, it's obviously Last Dinosaurs. Look, they have an EP that we haven't covered,
And we might get to it
But-
eventually. Who knows?
but I have no plans full stop to cover it because a lot of those songs have been already covered. We are picking and probably finishing off for a long time until they put up a new album, Violent Soho's Hungry Ghost, as well as the 2 singles that they put out before it, Neighbor Neighbor and Tinderbox.
I got to write that down because I didn't think about that. Okay,
Just whilst everyone else is putting in extra songs.
that's the beauty of the All Star episode. You can do that shit. We're not ranking them. Doesn't matter.
Hey now, you're an all-star, pick your favorites, and complain about how all the others suck.
So that's Neutral Milk Hotel, Petite League, and Violent Soho, all coming kind of head to head in an episode.
Look, I feel like if Neutral Milk Hotel doesn't win, then a lot of people will be pissed just because of the second Neutral Milk Hotel.
But I
But
mean,
I feel like, yeah, this one's pretty much up for grabs.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna say. I think we've covered the best of Neutral Milk Hotel already.
Yeah, we absolutely have.
I don't
We
know.
covered In the Airplane Over the Sea. I mean,
Like, I don't know how much familiarity you two have with Ferris Wheel on Fire or Little Birds or anything.
None.
I've listened to it once, I believe.
I don't think everything is maybe their best work, but it's still interesting, and we're still gonna cover it.
I'm definitely familiar with Everything Is because the Australian versions of or Australian/European versions of Avery Island includes the Everything Is EP on it.
Oh yeah, that's the thing. Everything is there's only like 4 songs in America, so that's the version we're doing.
It's 3 songs, isn't it?
I'm pretty sure it's 4. Let me double check now.
Because then I'm out of song on Spotify.
Let me double check. Give me just a moment. Hey, it's 4 songs. Everything everything is Snow Song Part 1 and Agma Blowtorch Tuesday Moon.
Yeah, Tuesday Moon is not included on this, so I'll have to go hunting for it. But until then, I have been Riddon, and you can catch me on my website, riddonforkids.github.io. Sorry for the way that I'm talking. For some reason, my mouth wants to be fucked up today. You can also catch me on my YouTube. It'll be linked in the description below. As long as some other charities, I'm pretty sure that Dominic will still be posting in there.
Yeah.
You know, if you have money, throw it away.
Yeah.
Money is bad. Capitalism is a cancer to our society. Everybody,
Give us some
we
good
need
causes.
to pay to things with rocks. Thank you very much. You can also catch Trix at the following things that she is now going to say.
You can catch me on Twitter at procrastinaut_. That is like procrastinating astronaut, and then an underscore at the end of it. I also have a YouTube channel where I've been trying to post videos about basses and stuff because I've got a bunch of weird ones. And yeah.
I'm Dominic. Oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say we have a website and Twitter, Dissonant Waves, that's face, and at Dissonant Waves.
Follow us on those places if you'd like. I'm Dominic. You can catch me on Twitter at DACICHOCKI. And I'm also a writer for TiltedWindmillStudios.com sometimes. Catch me there sometimes if you want. And I do other stuff sometimes, which you might hear about sometimes. I'm just going to keep saying sometimes because I said sometimes too many times already. Anyway, sometimes.
Sometimes.
I get by. Oh, Weekend Run Club's good. Anyway, that's it for the episode. Thank you very much. We'll catch you next week with our All-Star episode. Stay tuned for that. Bye-bye.